You must be super excited to return back to Western Australia and obviously where it all began in the NBL for you more than a decade ago now.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think it's always a stressful process going through the off season and stuff like that. But yeah, this one obviously it's a no-brainer for me. I get to be home, back where it all started. A lot of fond memories there, and yeah, definitely trying to build new ones with the roster we've got coming up.
Talk us through some of those earlier memories. You were lucky enough to win two championships in your first three seasons as a Wildcat. It's a pretty impressive strike rate. You obviously, a DP and an injury replacement in those days. Yeah, I guess talk us through those early years and those really fond memories as a young player.
Yeah, look, I think when you're a young guy coming in, that's all I knew, and in my eyes, things seem pretty simple, right? You come in, you train, you play, and you win championships. But obviously, that hasn't been the case. And, I think those early years were tough. Obviously, a lot of learning, but some great players to learn, but that I was able to learn under and take that, knowledge I had there away. And then now to come back full circle to, push for another championship, it's definitely something I look forward to. And yeah, a new chapter that I'm willing to embark on.
Other than the obvious one in Jesse Wagstaff, is there any other familiar faces around the club for when you arrived?
I know Katie's still in the front office, so I've got Katie Reed, Josh Kavanagh, the strength conditioning coach. Dan was there as well, and I think Keegan was helping out bits and pieces. Obviously, he's an assistant coach now, but yeah, outside of that, I don't know too many guys. So it's been a long time, so definitely a lot of turnover.
And how much have you grown as a player and person since those early days? You played nearly 200 NBL games now, and you've been a real leader around the 36ers organization as well. How much have you grown since that first stint at the Wildcats?
I think a lot, right? When you look back and you look at the experience that I've been able to build over the years in the NBL. You just take pieces from each year and you build on the next, and the year after year, you gain a wealth of experience and you start to know the ins and outs of the leagues and the different teams. But yeah, I think definitely a lot and something that I'm grateful for. I had a really good foundation at the Cats with a lot of good veterans and a lot of people that I looked up to and over my time in Adelaide and in Illawarra, I've been able to gain a wealth of knowledge there as well. So yeah, looking forward to coming back and trying to use that to help push our team forward as much as I can, and just to be back home in the red and black.
And I guess everyone describes you as, a really hardworking player, those defensive attributes and that sort of thing. Is that what you're sort of hoping to bring to the Wildcats?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's always something that I hang my hat on and cherish. I definitely had a had a lot of learnings under Damien Martin, and that really helped my career going forward. And but I can definitely score with the best of them as well. And being in the right position and talking to JR, Keegan and G, they've got a plan for me and a plan for the group, and that's something I'm really excited about as well. The Wildcats have been one of the highest scoring teams in the last couple of years, and I definitely want to add to that. But bringing my defensive experience and knowledge, and then also, yeah, my leadership qualities is something I think I can add to the group that adds a lot of value.
Do you feel like there's some exciting pieces to the roster already with obviously Dylan Windler, the latest re-signing, Christian Doolittle, Jesse Wagstaff, then obviously a few younger guys in Elijah Pepper, Tom Jerovich, Cameron Hoofner as well?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the build of the roster and how the coaches and Danny Mills in the front office are going about it. I've been talking at them for the last couple of weeks, and yeah, they've definitely got a really good vision, something that I see myself being a part of moving forward, and really exciting. It's always a bit weird, right? When you've had such a dominant player, in Bryce for such a long time, how do you move on? And that's something they describe to me in detail and talk to me a lot about, and how they plan to build the roster to push for a championship again. And yeah, it was really exciting. I think we've got a lot of talent and guys that JR and the front office are putting together at the moment are guys that want to win. They've got a team first approach, and defensively and offensively a lot of versatility.
And was it always something you wanted to do? Hopefully, return back to WA and be part of the Wildcats once again?
I think so, right? I think when you grow up and it's your childhood team, and then you end up playing for them, it's always something you dream of and you fantasize about. Coming in and finishing your career. At the team where it all started. So by no means close to finishing my career, but it is something that I'm excited and grateful that it's happened earlier rather than later in my career.
What's the next few months look like for yourself? You're obviously based in Melbourne at the moment, is that right? Playing a bit of NBL one?
Yeah, playing NBL one with Knox, the Knox Raiders. We've got a really good team, really good setup over here. So I'll continue to train and play games here. Push for that NBL one championship as well, and then maybe make a trip or two back home in the off season, and then once preseason starts, come in rolling and ready to go.